Well, good morning. How are you all today? And welcome to American Reversion. If you're new here, I'm Steve Smith. And this is where we talk about taking this country back to the way that it should be. That country being the United States. But if you're listening or watching from Canada, Australia, Western Europe, wherever you are, it very possibly applies to your country as well. So good that you're here. I would ask you, if you would you give it a thumbs up? Would you leave a comment? That helps, the algorithm as we want to build this channel. We're coming into a very important election, political season here, and it's important to get as much out to as many people as possible. Would you make sure that you're subscribed? Because I've had people tell me that they've had to resubscribe to my channel several times in a single week. We know that these platforms play games and why they do it and who they do it with. So if you will make sure that you are subscribed, that will be very helpful. Then you'll be sure to be notified every time I put something up new. And I was putting something up every day. That's my goal, as I said the other day. So I may miss a day here and there, but for the most part, we're going to be getting something up here every day. Ooh, I'm sorry I had something in front of the mic. I hope you could just hear everything that I said. If it can, and when I check this, I'll have to do it all over again. And if you would, probably the most important thing, would you share this video? There are a lot of people out there we need to reach, and they haven't been reached. They, sadly, are the deciding factor in so many of the elections, which drives our country. Right? I mean, we wish that it weren't run essentially by those who don't know anything, but that's the way it is, and we have to win them. The other side's been winning too many of them. Well, this morning I was reading the audibles of my books over on the Integrative Preparedness channel. I'm reading currently through The Revival, my second book, and I came to a part here that I wanted to read to lead into today's topic, and that is the moral battle. The moral battle that we have to fight. Now, we talk about the political battles, and certainly that's important, but underpinning that is the moral battle. Our founders understood that. Pretty much every generation up until the 60s understood that, and that's where we lost. So I want to read, just going to read a very short piece from, I think it's the second chapter of The Revival, and then we'll get to talking about it. And this is Jim Wyatt talking, and he's addressing, he's given a talk at the Thanksgiving gathering. They've just survived the summer. They're going into the fall. They're meeting for a Thanksgiving gathering in the central hall that they've built. And here's what Jim says. He says, Patrick Henry said that virtue, morality, and religion are the great pillars of government and were the armor that made our country invincible in its early days. John Adams said that the U.S. Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people, and that it was wholly inadequate for the government of any other, and many of you are familiar with that quote. He goes on, there could be no argument that those pillars cracked and crumbled in later years, or that the moral and religious underpinnings of our country dissolved in a culture increasingly consumed with self and celebrity worship. As Abraham Lincoln, Douglas MacArthur, and many others warned us, the nation which could not be defeated from without was eventually weakened and defeated from within. Well, I think everybody agrees with that. We've seen a great country destroyed from the inside because of the disintegration of a shared morality in our country. I just put something on the Patreon channel, and it was something that I received on the message, in the message side of the Patreon channel, from Rogue Sovereign Mind. And it was about how our government is complicit in child trafficking. How I won't try to recap the entire story for you here. There's a great interview with it. And so he sent that to me on message. And I want to apologize here. I have not been checking the messages on the Patreon channel of American Reversion. I was so busy with other things. I neglected to do that, but I will now be checking it every day. So my apologies to anybody who has messaged me and didn't hear back from me, because I always try to get back with everybody who messages me. So Rogue Sovereign Mind put this article up there, and included in it is a great interview with Sarah Carter. And she talks about exactly our government's complicity in, and you understand the immigration situation, and we've talked about how they are aiding and abetting illegal immigration, but how they are complicit in child trafficking because of how they're doing this. I mean, I don't know how much more immoral you can get than that. Our government is not just the people, although, a government is a reflection of the people as a whole. It may not be a reflection of you or of me. It may not be a reflection of some of us, many of us actually, but it is the reflection. A government is the reflection of the majority of the people who are involved politically. Okay, that doesn't mean the majority of the people. It means the majority of the people who are involved politically. And so many people on our side are not involved politically. And I'm going to continue to bang that drum and say, if you are not involved politically, you're not involved in the fight. I'm sure that most of you are, but we need your friends also to understand that. And so that's why I ask that you share these videos. Well, when you watch this, and if you're not with us on the Patreon channel, the link is down below. I hope that you'll come join us over there. It is a great piece and an exceptional interview by, it's on Fox and Friends or something like that, of Sarah Carter. And she also explains, and she shows, and this many of you may know this. If you don't know this, it'll blow your minds. It's a list of those aliens who are considered under protected classes and so are not detained. And one of the top ones now is if they identify as LGBTQ plus whatever it is. Okay, so if they are one of those, they are not stopped. They're simply released because they are considered a person at risk. And she said she interviewed some guy, and he said, well, everybody knows that when you come here, if you just say that you're gay, he says, I told them I was gay, and they let me in, and they let me go. She says, are you gay? He says, no, but I just said that so I can stay. Essentially, if you're gay, you can stay. Okay? This isn't an indictment of people who identify as gay. It's an indictment of our government. Okay? And that needs to be made very clear. So when the immoralities of a country get so deep that it is the functioning priority of a country's government, and I won't say nation because we're not a nation. I know many people think we are. I've done a video on that. Maybe I'll do another one. So when that is the guidon of a country's government, as I said on the cup, well, let me throw this in here because I tell you, nobody said it better than Thomas Jefferson. Would you agree with me on that? I'm drinking out of the newest American Reversion cup. This thing is just beautiful. And so it's on one side, of course, it's the rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God, Minuteman, American Reversion. But I'll read on the back here of what the cup says, because this is the answer to, in one of our founding documents, in the Declaration of Independence, this is the answer to what happens when a government has reached that depth of immorality. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, and that is the, pursuit of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. It is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. That's on the back there. And I said this the other day. I said the word there is effect with an E, not affect with an A. And what that means is it doesn't mean to change their safety and happiness. To affect, the meaning of that word is to bring about, okay? To cause to exist. So to affect, to bring about their safety and happiness. I'll say one more word about this mug before we continue here. The purpose, I had this mug designed this way so that as you drink it, and because we use these things to get the message out. First off, it's great. I love drinking out of it myself because it reminds me every time I take a sip that rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God. Now, let me be very clear. Rebellion, what that means, that can have many, many different reasons, and I am not calling for an uprising or an overthrow or anything like that. Rebellion can contain within it resistance or rebellion against their ideas. We have to be very, very clear on that, don't we? Okay, and so that reminds us. But while you're drinking this, I'm just assuming you all want one. They are available on the Stonemont website, stonemont.us, and I'm having my web guy make up an American Reversion website as we come into this political year. But as you're drinking this, or you're drinking it at work or with friends, something like that, it's going to bring that out to them. It's going to show them, and they'll say, hey, what's that writing on your cup? And then you get to read that, and then you get to talk about it. Well, as Jefferson said, when things get to the point to where the government has devolved to the extent that it no longer represents the values and the principles on which the country was based, and it not only fails to serve its proper function, okay, in protecting the Constitution and protecting the people's rights, but it becomes an autocratic overlord, then it is the right of the people. And then, you can carry that forward if you'd like to and say obligation of the people to effect a change. Now, how do we effect a change? Many of you feel the same way I do, and that is we have to effect a change on the ground level. Our country fell apart, as I read in the revival there, because of its decline and collapse of the collective morals of the people. And as the morals collapsed within the people, the government collapsed, at least as it should have been. Okay. Now, many of you people will say, well, it was a lot of the government programs that caused the collapse. Yes, it was, but the reason that those government programs were put in was because of a failed morality on the part of the people. Okay, so it really starts with the people, and I don't know, whether we are too far gone to reclaim this, but I do know that it behooves us to try. We have to do everything we can to try. And our battlefield is a moral battlefield. It's an individual battlefield with our neighbors, our coworkers, our friends, our family. And by that I don't mean battling them. What I mean is influencing them. Using yourself as an example, using yourself as an information source, being a teacher, sharing truths with them, sharing with them your ideas and your understandings of what's happened to our country, the importance of getting things back the way they should be, and the way to get things back. And the way to get things back is by changing the minds, or sometimes it's not even changing the minds. Sometimes it's re-engaging the minds of the people. There's a lot of people out there that if you will talk with them about the decadence, the moral collapse of our country, they'll agree. They say, yeah, that's exactly right. But that's where they stop. And they don't go beyond that and say, well, maybe I should do something about it. Okay? And that's what we have to do. We have to get more people thinking, They need to be involved in doing something about it. You know, at the end of every video here, I say that America needs a reversion. It needs you to be a part of it. Well, it also needs them to be a part of it. And you are the catalyst. You are the vehicle that might take the message to them that gets them on board with the rest of us. And then they have friends, and they have friends, and they have friends. This is how things are done. You know, so many people, and I don't think so here, so many people don't understand the importance of politics. I did a video the other day over on the Integrative Preparedness channel, and I got a lot of people just jump up and down about how, you know, politics are useless, politics are all dishonest and all that. They misunderstand what politics is. Politics is simply that process through which you influence people and groups. Okay, whether that group is your quilting club or the country, and it all starts individually. That's why they say all politics is local. You know, nothing big starts big. It all starts little, and big things are made up of a whole lot of little things. And your ability to influence those around you is crucial to being able to getting our country back on track. So we've seen a lot of horrible things happen to our country as a result of evil people taking over and good folks not doing much about it. Right? Remember, and I always say this: it's most people's, well, many people's favorite quote, and it's from Edmund Burke: "All that's required, all that's necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing, or women, for good people to do nothing." I've always argued that in the face of evil, and good people will do something. You can't call yourself good if you don't do anything in the face of evil. Many people don't consciously avoid it, but they subconsciously do. They say, I can't deal with it. I can't, there's nothing I can do about it. It's beyond hope. Well, I just want to insulate myself from this. Well, change is never made by people insulating themselves from the problem. And everybody needs to get involved in this. And the more that you think about it and the more you talk about it with friends, and hopefully you build a support group around you, that's going to help you. You're going to help the cause. You're going to play your part in the battle. You're going to help the country. But as you develop this more, the strength of the group you build around you and your acquaintances is going to help strengthen you. That's the way it always works. That's the way it always happens. It just doesn't need. Somebody made the statement. I don't remember who it was, but it's not a matter. I don't even remember whether it was one of our founders. I think it was a founder, but they said, it doesn't take a large fire. It takes a whole lot of little fires. And I think that's true. I'll look that quote up because this is a good one. Maybe you all can look it up and leave it down in the comments. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Our battle is political, but beneath that, the real battle is moral. And it needs each of us to be involved in that battle to whatever extent we can. So think about that. Let me know, your thoughts in the comments. Go check out. If you're on Patreon, make sure you check out and read that article that Rogue Sovereign Mind put up there. Thank you, Rogue. And if you're not with us on Patreon, we'd love to have you over there. The link is down below. But do your part. Do your part. Think about this. What should you do? And I think the answer is going to be clear to you. It's going to come to you. You must do something. You have to be a part of the solution. Okay, and you can be. That's the thing. Don't think that you can't be. Every person you talk to, you can have an effect on if you do it right. Okay. So have a good day. Please remember, give us a thumbs up if you would. Make sure that you are subscribed and share this video with as many people as you think is appropriate. Okay. Share this to the ones maybe you think might just need to wake up a little bit to their part of the communal responsibility in this. Okay? You all have a good day. Rebellion, and I will say resistance to tyrannical to tyrants. It's a rebellion to tyrants. But resistance to tyrannical policies is obedience to God. Let's do it, all right? Let's don't just make that a cool saying on a mug, but let's do it. And remember that, you can go to Stonmont US and order one for yourself if you'd like, or for all your friends. We'd love to. Let's get 1 million of these out there, okay? And just think of these mugs were popping up everywhere and got conversations started. That was one of the main reasons that I designed this, to get them out there. So anyway, America needs a reversion. It needs you to be a part of it. Please be a part of it. And if we all do what we can get this thing turned around, okay? You all have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.